We are gathered on March 10th at UCLA, where we are rolling, where it's another beautiful sunny day, where the sunshine is shining, to debate the question this House would ban all automatic and semi-automatic weapons. Speaking for the proposition, Raymond, and for the negative, or the opposition, Matt. This House would come to order, and the chair will recognize the leader of the government for a speech not to exceed 7 minutes in length.
Hello, my name's Raymond.
Hi, Raymond.
Resolved, this House would ban all automatic weapons. First, I would like to propose this resolution to be presented in the policy case as an affirmative case. First, I'd like to go over definitions. This House has the United States ban to legally prohibit, defined by Merriam-Webster Dictionary, and automatic weapons defined by the 1934 National Firearms Act as any weapons which shoot, designed to shoot, or can be readily restored to shoot automatically more than one shot without manually reloading by a single function of the trigger. So this would include automatic and semi-automatic weapons. So the resolution reads that the United States would legally prohibit all automatic and semi-automatic weapons. If the government side can create a policy that is better than the current status quo, then the proposition wins this debate. So, what is the problem at hand? The problem at hand is that there are too many gun-related crimes, suicide, and homicides within this country. Between 2009 and 2013, over 250 fatal shootings have occurred in the US, and this is more than Norway, Finland, Israel, Switzerland, Germany, the UK, Canada, France, and Slovakia combined. So, this is a tremendous problem in the US. Automatic and semi-automatic weapons should not be in the possession of the American people. Mass shootings are becoming increasingly common in America. According to a 2015 article from the Washington Post, we are now averaging more than one mass shooting per day. Just to name some of the few that are more prominent: Sandy Hook 2012, Isla Vista 2014, the Batman screening shooting 2012, Virginia Tech 2007. According to Gun Violence Archive from 2016, on mass shootings, over 67 people have been killed and over 431 people have been injured in 2016 alone. Automatic and semi-automatic weapons are created for one purpose, and that is to kill as many people as quickly as possible. So, to further go on, automatic weapons and semi-automatic weapons are not used for self-defense. Given our Founding Fathers' statement, the right to bear arms, the right to self-defense, semi-automatic weapons are not a part of what they envisioned. Back then, when the Founding Fathers wrote the Constitution, they saw guns that were automatically loaded, took forever to load, and had terrible accuracy. So the guns we see nowadays are not used for self-defense. So this policy will also include the demilitarization of police forces in our local communities. Local police forces are here for our protection, and to combat the growing case of police brutality, we prohibit their use of automatic weaponry as well in my proposal. So how big is the problem? One of the problems with firearms nowadays is that they're automatic and designed for shooting multiple rounds in quick succession. This is known as spraying, which objective is to kill as many people as possible. By looking at empirical data, we can see why automatic and semi-automatic weapons should be prohibited. In the 2012 Sandy Hook shooting, over 27 victims were killed, including 6 young children. The weapon was a Bushmaster XM-I-15, capable of shooting 30 rounds per minute. 2007 Virginia Tech, over 30 people were killed. Weapon of choice was the Walter P-22, capable of firing more than 10 rounds per minute. In 2012, the Aurora Theater shooting, over 60 people were injured by gunfire, including 12 deaths. And the weapon was Smith and Wesson M and P-15 rifle. All of these semi and automatic weapons. So we can see how these fatal mass shootings are getting higher and higher while these events are becoming more and more prominent and frequent. So why do we have this problem? Firearms are more accessible now than ever before, and the current status quo in California to access a firearm, semi-automatic or automatic weapon, all you need is to submit a personal firearm eligibility check with license, driver license, or ID. Afterwards, you get age-limited check, incarceration check, stability check, and safety test. And after that, you wait about 10 days and you get your gun right then and there. So on top of that, weaponry advancement is automatic weapons were designed for one purpose, and they were designed for war, to kill as many people as possible. So another reason why this is becoming more of a prominent problem are that there are loopholes. Given the case in the 2015 Charleston shooting in a church, a man obtained a gun through a background check loophole, and in which he killed 9 unarmed black individuals at a church. So there's also the gun show loophole, which allows a private sale of guns at gun shows, dubbed the secondary market, also known as Bradley Law loophole. So what should we do about this? So the solution is that we ban all firearms, including all automatic firearms, including some semi-automatics, and this will create some help, because it would help lower the mass shooting. As we can see, this solution has proven to work from the 1994 bill, the California the federal assault weapon ban, which was signed into law, and this was a 10-year ban which ended in 2014. And within that 10-year where automatic weapons were banned, there has been a significant decrease in the number of mass shootings. So we can see that a ban like this, a ban on all automatic weapons, would and could and have worked in the past. So so what are the advantages of this proposal banning automatic weapons? A, there would be less mass shootings, and there have been significantly mass shootings since there has been significantly more and more mass shootings since the ban was lifted. So we can see, if we go back to the ban, we can see a decrease in that number. We value the preservation of human life, therefore this ban would reduce violence and reduce the casualties that have been escalated within these recent years. Finally, this will demilitarize our police and not make them look like a standing army, which will especially help those who are racially targeted or marginalized by the police. So what are some disadvantages? Well, some radical right-wing people might not have their guns at their gun show, but overall, we can see on balance that it is a good idea. It has been a good idea in the past that we seen from the 1994 ban, and we can see that this plan, this House would ban all automatic weapons, would work and could work. So I am now open for cross-examination.
Thank you very much. 7:05. Chair will now recognize the leader of the opposition, who will stand close to the leader, and let me readjust the camera since you're both taller. Good. For a cross-examination period not to exceed 3 minutes in length.
Raymond, thank you very much for your very enlightening presentation. I just have a few questions for you. When you talk a little bit about the Founding Fathers and their intention in the Second Amendment, can you tell me where you find their intent behind there for self-defense specifically?
It's not their intentions, but during the time when they wrote this into the Constitution, the weapon at the time was a very slow gun that you had to manually reload, that had low accuracy and low precision.
But you said it was for the use of self-defense, so wouldn't self-defense be increased the use of an automatic weapon?
No.
But if they're in...
Automatic weapons are not used for self-defense, and in no case have they been shown to use for self-defense.
But what I'm not understanding, I guess, is that if your life is in danger, wouldn't you be able to increase your chance of self-defense if you have a stronger weapon that's able to defend you?
Then a grenade would be a self-defense weapon, according to you.
When you talk a little bit about the police brutality and demilitarizing our police, What if we ban all automatic weapons and criminals are still able to get a hold of automatic weapons? Wouldn't we just be putting our police lives in danger?
No, because our local police forces should not have these weapons to, which purpose is to kill. Our police would have their own weapons, but if we have something of this caliber, then we would have SWAT teams or something of a larger force to handle the situations.
What weapons would you propose that our police officers be equipped with?
Handguns, which they already have.
Okay. You mentioned that firearms are more accessible now than ever, and you talked a little bit about the California law. Do you realize that the law that you were talking about there is for non-automatic weapons? The law is actually, I have it right here, it's the National Firearms Act 26, USC Chapter 53, NICS, which requires a federal background check from the FBI.
What is your question?
For the purchase of automatic weapons.
What is your question?
So my question for you is, do you realize that the information you presented was inaccurate for the possession of automatic weapons?
Okay, but there are still the loopholes that are presented, which automatic and the gun show loophole, the Bradley Law loophole, which allows people in gun shows to sell weapons because it's dubbed a secondary market.
So couldn't we just propose that,
30 seconds left.
could we not just propose stricter regulations on gun shows as opposed to banning all automatic weapons entirely?
No, because automatic weapons serve one purpose and one purpose only, and that's to kill, and we should not have that weapon in the public eye, or public sector.
Further questions?
Thank you very much. Chair will now recognize the leader of the opposition for a speech not to exceed 7 minutes in length. Can you move slightly to the left? My left. Yeah. And we are rolling.
My name is Matthew Visk,
Hi, Matthew.
and I stand a strong negation for the following resolution, resolved that we should ban all automatic weapons in the United States. This proposition will be presented as a policy debate taken from the negative stance. To define what we're talking about automatic guns, an automatic firearm is anything that continuously fires rounds as long as the trigger is pressed and held and there's ammunition in the magazine. For the sake of this, I will be using the term assault weapons as defined by by the military procurement definition of selective fire, full auto, continuous or burst of fire, plus auto-loading arms of sub-caliber. So what is our problem? Many argue that the selling of automatic firearms is the leading cause for gun-related violence in the United States. However, on September 13, 1994, President Bill Clinton signed an assault weapon ban into law. It barred the manufacture and sale of new guns with military features and magazines holding more than 10 rounds. But the law allowed those who already owned the guns, an estimated 1.5 million people, to keep their weapons. This policy proved costly. Mr. Clinton actually blamed this policy for the Democratic loss in 1994. And although crime did fall when it was reenacted in reverse in 2014, we saw that there was no significant connection between the banning of automatic weapons and the lowering of crime rates, because when it was reintroduced, crime rates did not increase. Many believe that the assault weapons are the choice of weapon for drug dealers and violent criminals. This is just a stigma, a stereotype that was introduced by mafia movies, by drug-related movies, and that sort of thing. In 2012, only 322 people were murdered with any kind of rifle. The FBI data shows from the New York Times 2014.
Oh, finally a sword.
Handguns were
Thank
used
you.
in more than 80% of gun murders each year, also from the same article in the New York Times in 2014. The most generous interpretations of statistics show that automatic firearms are used in well under 2% of homicides in America. That's done by a University of Dayton Law Review, the Great Assault Weapon Hoax in 1994. The new crime statistics released by the agency reveal that out of the 11,961 murders performed within the United States in 2014, 666 were committed unarmed, 1,564 were committed with knives, and only 248 murders were known to have been committed using rifles of any type, including single-shot, long arm, and assault rifle, routinely demonized by gun control groups. That was the FBI Uniform Crime Report of 2014. So indeed, despite a barrage of widely disseminated and often repeated misinformation and outright lies, the factual evidence continues to deny the claims made against the firearms erroneously referred to as assault weapons. There are reports from federal, state, and local police files, most of them drafted around 1989, that clearly show that the targeted guns are far from the scourge that their detractors claim. In this brief, it will become evident that there are no valid statistics to support the claim that assault weapons are the weapons of choice for drug dealers and other violent criminals, or that police are being mowed down by such guns and are vastly outgunned. So, how big is the problem? Some people believe that automatic firearms are the leading cause of mass shootings in the United States, but this is not the issue because large homicides will be committed regardless of the weapon of choice, and 2, mass shootings are the result of a deeper problem in America besides the selling of automatic guns. Some people argue that the distribution of automatic firearms need to reform and stricter regulation. However, as pointed out before, on September 13, 1994, Congress passed the Violent Crime Control and Law Enforcement Act of 1994, public law, etc., 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 which made it unlawful to manufacture, transfer, and possess semi-automatic assault weapons, and to transfer and possess large-capacity ammunition feeding devices. Also, the National Firearms Act of 26 U.S.C. The United States Constitution, Chapter 53, NICS, says that there needs to be FBI background checks for people trying to possess automatic firearms. So why do we have this problem? The problem of mass murders. Mass murders and shootings are not the product of automatic guns, but rather the product of mental instability on the part of the shooter. So psychologists Verlinden, Herson, and Thomas of 2004 found that common individual factors of mass shootings include anger, depression, blaming others for problems, threatening violence, a history of aggression, either physical or verbal, receiving mental health treatment, and having known problems with substance abuse. Nothing that has to do with the obtaining of an assault rifle. We also see that psychologists Newman, Fox, Harding, and Metha all found that common traits of a shooter were perceptions of himself or herself that are extremely marginal in social worlds that matter to him, the psychosocial problems in the shooter, including mental illness, severe depression, abuse, and related vulnerabilities, the cultural scripts, prescriptions for behavior that led to a belief that unleashing an attack on teachers and classmates will solve the shooter's problems, and a failure of surveillance systems to identify troubled teens. Again, nothing that involves the attaining of a weapon. So limiting the ability for law-abiding citizens, all who have cleared FBI background checks, as well as police forces, to purchase and own assault weapons is clearly an infringement on their Second Amendment rights, and there is no correlation between higher death levels and assault guns. So what is our solution that we're proposing? The solution to gun violence in America is threefold. Expand counseling and psychological services in school for young children. Continue strict gun enforcement laws when the purchasing and the exchanging of assault weapons, and that includes inside of these gun shows. To provide police and protective service agents with assault weapons. The argument that police are outgunned is simply untrue. However, ensuring that our protective agencies have access to military-style weapons in the event of an emergency will greatly reduce police and civilian casualties. Will this solution work? Absolutely it'll work, because gun violence crimes will continue to be combated instead of unjustly targeting the ability of law-abiding citizens to obtain their rights. It is with full assurance I can say that it is necessary for the United States to continue to enforce the Second Amendment of the Constitution of the United States of America. By not banning automatic firearms in the United States, we continue to protect citizens' rights while not seeing any evidence of an increase in gun-related deaths. The effect of trying to ban all automatic guns will be costly and require much work on behalf of our law enforcement officers, including putting their lives in line. This will put more officers' lives in danger and lead to higher casualties in the end. Without a doubt, the advantages far outweigh the disadvantages. I now stand open to questions and cross-examination.
6:33. Chair will now recognize the leader of the government for cross-examination, not to exceed 3 minutes in length.
Okay. You say that under 2% of all homicides or shootings include an automatic firearm, correct?
Yes.
Yes, so would you agree that 2% is too many?
I guess so, but when we look at it
Thank you. Would you agree that you said that large portions of firearms, or actually, you said your solution would increase, expand counseling, correct?
Say that one more time, what's the question?
Your solution would expand counseling and arm the police and continue surveillance on gun regulations.
Yes.
Okay, so how would you expand counseling, and how would you target people who need help if they aren't already getting the help they need?
Well, what we can do is start introducing psychological and counseling services as a more widely available and widely accessible means of counseling inside of schools, because mass shootings happen in schools most frequently between teenagers between the ages of 18 and 25.
Okay, so would you would you say that it's a good idea to keep these people away from guns, rather than just providing them help?
I think that by providing them help, we are tackling the core issue of the problem, as opposed to just taking away a means for them to commit this crime. They will commit the crime if the core issue is still there. So we are targeting actually their core issue rather than just a means for them to make
True, they will still commit the crime if the gun wasn't still there, but if the gun was there, wouldn't it be an easier accessibility to take away many more lives?
Would they still not find another source of weapon to commit the crime?
Yes, but not a weapon to purposefully kill many people.
Would a handgun be purposely in the hand of killer be meant to kill somebody?
Yes, but it won't be.
So
there
it's
won't
the
be
same
as many
thing.
casualties.
If we're talking numbers of casualties, but the fact of the matter is the murders are still happening, and we need to target the murders happening by attacking, their psychological issues, as opposed to just cutting down the numbers.
One
We should
left.
Cut it all together.
Okay, so your other proposal is that we should arm localized police. So by arming localized police, won't you believe this will create a state of militarization?
On what
Yeah,
grounds?
we won.
Because of the high police brutality that already exists in our country, the racial injustice that many people of color already face, won't you believe this will create
Can you
more?
tell me how racial injustice is in any way tied to this?
Because there is constant fear of police brutality going on.
With assault weapons?
With weapons in general, and if you arm them up to the teeth, then that fear would increase.
I guess so, but I think what...
Thank you. So, you said that the 1994 ban, there was no increase after the crime. You said there was no increase after the ban was lifted, correct?
Yes.
Are you aware that I provided evidence that said that there was an increase in mass shooting since the ban
I'm aware, but
lifted?
are you aware
That's
that
time.
I
Answer the
provided
question.
evidence? It didn't?
Sorry, what's the
That's
last?
okay. We're done.
He can answer the
Yeah, can you
question.
repeat it? Sorry.
Yes, I said, yes, I am aware of that, but are you aware that I also gave evidence that it did not? To opposing evidence?
Okay, well, we'll have to let the judge decide. Judges decide. Okay, and now it's time for rebuttal, where we have those steps of refutation. 1, 2, 3, 4. Boy. Thank you for waiting respectfully at the door. Where we have the 4 steps of refutation. He said, I disagree because and therefore. So the chair will recognize Raymond.
Hello, my name's Raymond.
Hi, Raymond.
So, my opponent said that after the 1994 ban on crime and after the 2004 lift of it, crime rates didn't. Once firearms were reintroduced, crime rates did not rise. However, I provided empirical data. According to the Gun Violence Archive from 2016, mass shootings have been increasing over the years, and within this year alone, over 67 people have been killed and over 431 people have been injured due to assault rifles, due to assault weapons, and due to mass shootings. And if that isn't data enough to show that there has been an increase since the ban and within our present day, and because present day that is why we should have the ban. My opponent also agreed with me that even 2% of mass shootings is too many. So he agreed with me, and this includes automatic weapons. So if we could take away that 2% and make it at 0%, then why not ban all automatic weapons? On top of that, my opponents claim that mass murder and mass shootings are due to mental instability and require more police armament or more police guns to help the solution. So, however, what my opponent doesn't understand is that, like, if we have a ban on weapons, even if we provide mental health, even if we do all that, if they have accessibility to these weapons as easily as they do within the status quo, no matter what mental health check they have, no matter what counseling they get, this will still be a prominent problem because weapons are so accessible. Now, My opponent also claimed that by arming police, we would help the situation, and he provided data that police aren't actually being gun-bound by automatic weapons, so his data contradicts each other, and it doesn't help his case at all. So he argues by arming police, we would help the public, keep public sector more safe. However, because of fear of police brutality within recent times, within with a lot of the police brutality cases that go on, and a lot of the unarmed shootings, police should not be armed up to the teeth because this will create more fears within the people. Instead, we should disarm the police and create a more safer community. Okay, thank you.
Thank you very much. That was 239. Chair will now recognize the leader of the opposition for his rebuttal that should include the 4 steps of refutation. He said, I disagree because, therefore.
So my opponent said that by demilitarizing police, we will lower police brutality. However, I disagree with this because that is under the assumption that all police are out there to be brutal, to be committing crimes, and not to be protecting citizens' lives. So I disagree with this, and I think that by actually equipping our good law enforcement officers that are protecting us with the proper tools necessary to do their jobs to protect us from these assault weapons that might legally be attained, might illegally be obtained, we are giving them a fair chance for their lives and to protect more citizens' lives. My opponent also said that 2% of deaths are too much, and he quoted me on saying that that is too much. Any reasonable human being would say 2% of deaths is too much death. However, 98% of the deaths that are not attributed to assault weapons are not being addressed right here. And so although we are fixing 2% of the problem, that is such a small dent in the overarching killing that is happening because of weapons. So it proves that it's not just about the assault weapon, rather it is about the deeper core issue that is facing the United States today, which is a lot that has to do a lot with the mental stability of human beings who are committing these mass murders, not so much the weapon that they're using. My opponent also did not address the Second Amendment, our rights for the Second Amendment. If we want to take away, if we want to ban assault weapons, because it is not strictly outlined in the Second Amendment, what type of guns are used for self-defense, it would require us to reassess the Second Amendment completely, and that would be both costly, that would take time from our Congress who can combat other issues, and we would have to reassess completely about rewriting that Second Amendment. I disagree with this because this is something that is not a core issue that is facing the United States right now as much as other issues, and this is something that's too costly, too time effective for our Congress to be belittled with.
Therefore, we shouldn't ban all automatic weapons.
Therefore, we should not ban all automatic weapons.
Thank you. Okay, thank you. That was 204. Okay, and now it's time for you to cross the aisle, shake your opponent's hand, congratulate him on a good debate. And now it's time for the audience to do their job. Does everyone have a ballot filled out? Somebody have a stapler I can borrow? Anybody have a stapler? No stapler? I'm on a roll today. The score should be between 70 and 80. Just a reminder, you need to turn in your self-evaluations, your quarter brief, and your winning exam next Tuesday. Okay, will someone collect the ballots or pass them over, please? Oh, thank you. Do I have all the ballots? On a 7-4 decision, the decision goes to the government in favor of banning all automatic weapons. Can we start here? You weren't here, you weren't here, you were here. Stand up, say your name, and say your piece quickly.
Hi, Chloe.
Hi, Chloe.
I voted government because I thought his sources were more substantiated. Where like there was like the argument about like who's was like right about whether or not the ban lifting had any bearing, and you didn't cite your source. So to me, like that, you know, that it wasn't like it didn't carry the weight then. And I thought you did really well during the cross-examination. You sort of like had a good command of it.
Thank you, Chloe.
Hi, my name's Jorge. I picked the opposition because he made, I think his cross-examination was stronger, the points that he brought up, and his questions, they were very well, they were very good questions, and they really helped him in his case. Also, as for sources, I don't remember hearing any from the government, so...
Yeah, none.
Yeah.
Zero.
I did at least hear one or two, at least one or two from
Yeah.
The opposition. So that really gave the opposition credibility. So that's what
Right. So as far as we're concerned, it was Raymond asserting all these claims.
Yeah, it was just.
And we were learning to make arguments from authority, and Raymond gave us no authorities.
Exactly.
As I told Raymond repeatedly, we can't. Raymond had his citations on his brief, but you couldn't read them, and he didn't tell you orally where they came from. So, tough luck, Raymond.
Hi, my name is Johnny.
Hi, Johnny.
And I actually give them very high scores, and they've done a pretty good job. But I think the opposition, I'll get 1 point more than the government because, honestly, for government, he has done a very good job for cross-examination, and for opposition, he done a very good speech. And actually, for the government, I don't think it is necessary to mention disadvantages because the professor has mentioned a lot of do not mention any disadvantages of your proposal because you create an opportunity for your opponents to attack you. So yeah, basically, you guys have very good arguments, provide a lot of examples, yeah, have a good follow citation, so it's pretty good.
Yeah, that's a good point. Yes, sir.
Hi, my name is Akash.
Hi, Akash.
So, yes, I voted for the proposition or the government, whatever you call it. But, yeah, I like this cross-examination. Yep, the opposition's cross-examination was also very strong. However, he came back with the 2% point that I thought it was a strong point. But then he also tried to refute it from the opposition side, but I thought the government side was stronger. Also, another thing I liked about the government was that he, during refutation, he had very strong points compared to the opposition, because his speech was very good and it was very well phrased. However, it was not as strong enough in the refutation.
In the refutation,
yeah. So it was only a 1-point decision, and
so it was very close.
Yeah, it was very close. So yeah.
Okay, good. One thing I think we all noticed was that Raymond was very interested in cutting off his opponent when he finished, and some may have liked that, some may have disliked that, some may have thought it was rude, others may have thought it was out of Keith Fink's cross-examination videotape, being very a firm cross-examinator and not allowing the respondent to go on. You have to walk a fine line. There's a way to be disagree without being disagreeable, and to be firm without being rude. And so I think Raymond was right on the line. I think he needs to work on being firm without being rude. Yes, sir.
Hi, my name is Diego.
Hi, Diego.
Ultimately, I was actually pretty torn between the two, government and opposition. I was actually going to side with the opposition at first, but after careful thought, I realized that Raymond had a much better job of controlling where the debate was going. Initially, I thought it would be about maybe Second Amendment rights, but he really turned it around into a public safety issue versus mental health issue, and I think public safety trumps, tackling the mental health issues. So that's ultimately why I gave the government.
Right. Thank you, Diego. It seems that this didn't come out this time, but usually in this debate, the analogy of even a mentally ill person with a butcher knife or a kitchen knife can't do as much harm as he can with a AK-47 spraying people in a, concert in Paris. Yes, sir. You were Mr. Late Arrival, and you were Mr. Late Arrival. Okay, good.
Hi, Angela. I agree with the
Hi,
previous
Angela.
comment that I was very torn between the two of them. But coming into this, I thought a certain way, and then coming out of it, I felt the same way. So that's kind of what helped me judge. So therefore, I voted Raymond. I think the only thing that I wanted to say really were kind of criticisms for Raymond. He came off very hostile and standoffish, and that made me feel a little bit uncomfortable. But other than that, I thought Matt did a really nice job. He was very sophisticated, and he presented his debate very well. So that would be good words. That's about it.
Sometimes the attorney can become the attorney, or the advocate. I use that terminology because of my research, but sometimes the advocate can become the issue, and people will discard all your arguments because you're so rude and standoffish. So it's something to take into account in your presenting of your public persona. Yes, please.
Hi guys, my name is Brian.
Hi, Brian.
Good job on both debates. I thought you guys it was super close. But it came down to me was just the control Raymond had in the cross-examination, and then it carried over to the refutation, which is extremely strong. Yeah.
Is there one issue in particular that swept you away?
The 2%, definitely.
2%, yeah. Yes, please.
Hi, I'm Elizabeth.
Hi, Elizabeth.
I voted for the proposition, and there are quite a few reasons why. So the first was, the main problem I had with the opposition was I feel like their solution wasn't actually solving for anything. I feel like Raymond could have made the point that what he's proposing for isn't mutually exclusive from what Raymond wants to do, right? Like, we can continue to educate people, but we should also limit the access to prevent that 2% from even existing in the first place. So when I do a worlds comparison, I see that like Raymond is still actually like solving for something a little bit more than Matt. And then another point, I really liked your Second Amendment argument, but I feel like it was weak because you didn't show an example as to how automatic or semi-automatic weapons have been used as a form of self-defense, right? Because if you did this, then you completely would have countered Raymond's huge point, which was that semi-automatic and automatic weapons are designed to kill people. They are not designed to defend. So I feel like if you gave an example to that, then that would kind of like strengthen not only your Second Amendment point, but also like weaken the assertion that he's making that these automatic weapons are just meant to kill people. And then I really liked both cross-examinations. I actually really liked the point you made, and I feel like you should have stressed this a little bit more, which was that if we basically demilitarize the police force, like, aren't we making them vulnerable, right? So a point you can make is that banning these weapons doesn't necessarily mean that people are going to give them up, especially criminals who have them, right? So we have a prisoner's dilemma. We have this ban. Criminals are going to be reluctant to give up the weapons that they have, while the police force is going to be forced to give up their weapons, right, because they're considered law-abiding citizens.
Well, that's his plan.
So that's what we're doing. So what we're doing is we're leaving our police force to be vulnerable, and we still allow crimes to exist. So he's not solving really for the crimes being decreased.
Let me second something that Elizabeth said, and I thought Matt should have gone after the most vulnerable aspect of Raymond's plan, and that was to de-arm the police because, you know, he's heard in his classes that the police are evil. In North Hollywood, the police had to go to gun shops when during the Bank of America robbery because they had little handguns, and these guys in body armor were spraying the helicopters, and they couldn't stop them. So even the so-called big bad LAPD didn't have the hardware to stop the.
Shouldn't we bring in SWAT teams then at that point?
They had SWAT teams. They didn't have the military armament to fight what the bad guys had.
Criminals get access to military-grade weapons all the time. Like, they get access to like grenades.
So just my point about folks for strategy, when you see a very controversial part of a proposal, you want to go after it and really go after it and go after it and talk about it a great deal.
Second Amendment right is really important.
Yeah.
I want to know some evidence here.
All right, let's go here, please. Yes, sir.
Hi, I'm Josh.
Hi, Josh.
Hi. It basically came down to the cross-examination and Raymond really knowing what to ask, and he knew what to like get out of his opponent, and just the overall aggression overall. That was really key. Points that I like are like where he over-exaggerated something to make the opposition sound like kind of like flabbergasted. Like the grenade, that was good. It was pretty funny too. And the police brutality, like that was really like, ooh, that's relevant too. So good points there.
Good. Yes, sir.
Hi, my name is Jason. So yeah, I was really on the fence about this at first. I came in like actually supporting the government. I mean, I just did a speech about this last week about how the mentally ill shouldn't have weapons. So it would kind of be obvious that I'd be on his side. But in the end, I gave it to the opposition, and I thought you both had really great speeches. Just a couple comments I'd like to make for the proposition. Like, I felt like you spent too much time on what the problem was, and then when it got to why we have the problem and the solution, it felt kind of rushed. And also, when you said automatic weapons are designed for war, like, I know, like, it is kind of obvious it was, but, like, where's the proof for that? You know, maybe you could have given some background history as to, like, why these assault weapons were made in the first place. I thought your cross-examinations were both really good. I liked the opposition's cross-examination where you brought up what did you say? You said like he shared inaccurate information or something. I think he brought up like something. You said, oh no, this is not accurate. And then another thing, you brought up the grenade thing where you said, oh okay, so like, what's to say a grenade like won't do if you ban all automatic weapons? What I liked about Raymond's cross-examination. Like, yeah, I guess it was a little like, firm, but I mean, at the same time, he's still like, it was still like, it was meant to, have people side with him.
Yeah.
But even though it seems a little rude, like that's just, that's argumentation. But maybe like work on, not being too rude. But yeah, but I thought overall it was really good on both sides. So.
Okay, thank you for your comments, and thank you everyone. I would just want to make a couple of additional comments. It's Smith and Wesson for Raymond, and will the solution work? I agree that we needed to spend just a little bit more time and more documentation there. That got rushed. If you're going to have kind of a counter plan, you want to have more solvency to what you're kind of proposing to your solution, that the psychological counseling and tests will in fact yield good results, and that just wasn't here in the debate. Okay? All right, let's have the next debate, please. And thank you all for listening.